What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today, we're going to be ranking the top 10 shooting guards in the league. So if you guys do enjoy this content, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below on whether you agree or disagree. I dropped the point guard video out, and you guys responded. We had a conversation. I love that. Let's get a community going. Let's have a full-on discussion about this. So with that being said, let's get right on into this. So it's the same exact thing as the point guard episode. So if you didn't watch that one, feel free to go back and watch that one. Leave a like on that episode as well. We're just going to be ranking them 1 through 10. Just pulling 10 players here. Now this is just a there might be a player or two missing from here, i.e. injury or something like that. But a lot of what I have pulled is players that are listed on NBA.com, their depth chart. So for instance, Kyrie Irving is listed as a shooting guard because Luka is a point guard. I spoke about that a little bit on the point guard video, but now that we're dropping the shooting guard video, it's nice to touch on that as well. So with that being said, let's get right on into this. At number 10, I have Desmond Bane. Now Desmond Bane, I would have a little bit higher, but I just had higher expectations for him this season because I know Ja Morant was out and I know he dealt with some injuries, but he averaged 23, 4, and 5, and the Grizzlies kind of obviously, they performed pretty poorly, didn't make the playoffs or anything like that. Everyone was saying that this year was supposed to be that big jump for him to be on that all-star caliber level, and I think it would have been had Ja Morant been healthy, but I wanted to see what he could do alone and how he could handle a team by himself. And it just didn't really go well for the Grizzlies. Now, a lot of this is just because of those injuries, so I'm not really faulting him. I also think that there's just a lot of other shooting guards that had a better season this last season than him specifically. But overall, he had a very solid year. I expect it to be even better next season. Even if the 23 and 4 and 5, 23 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, if they drop slightly because everyone will be healthy, I still think he could have a better impactful season than this one. So at number 9, I do have Donte DiVincenzo. Donte DiVincenzo, if he would have continued the stretch that he had for New York at the end of the playoffs, during the playoff season, end of the regular season, during the playoff season, if he would have continued that the entire season, he would be way higher on this list. And I have high expectations for him this next season, similar to Desmond Bane. This was the first year that we've really seen him flourish fully and what he truly can be, averaging 15, 3, and 2, but let's be honest, those numbers were definitely skewed from earlier in the season. Then later in the season, he played a whole lot better. Defensively, though, he is an animal, and he fits perfectly in that Tom Thibodeau system. Now he's got one more of the Villanova boys, one more piece of that Thanos gauntlet over there in New York. So I expect him to have an even better season next season as well. But for him specifically, great season overall. For what he's been able to create, and I know he kind of bounced around the league there for a little bit with Golden State, Milwaukee, even Sacramento there for a second. He's definitely turned things around and solidified him as a solid bench player, starter-esque player. Right now, he'll be starting for New York from what I presume. At number 8, this one might shock some people. They might have him a bit higher, but I have him a bit lower. It is Dejounte Murray. This is all because the Hawks just had a very disappointing season. He plays better when Trae Young's not on the court, averaging 22, 5, and 6. When they're together, it's similar to like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland-esque, where they just don't play fantastic together. They play better separately. He played better in San Antonio. So I do think this next season with him in New Orleans playing alongside Zion and players like that, he's definitely going to have a better season overall. I know I keep bringing up player after player after player having a better season, but it's just my expectations. I always expect players to get better. And Dejounte being on a fresh new organization, I think that'll be fantastic for him specifically. But his season with the Hawks was just kind of okay, in my opinion. It wasn't fantastic. There were glimpses of how it could be phenomenal. There was a game he took over in the regular season against the Celtics, and that was shocking. But and he showed those flourishes, but again, Trae Young was not on the court at that time. So having that less ball-dominant player like someone like CJ McCollum now, who doesn't necessarily need the ball at all times, can be more of a spot-up shooter-esque player, gives Dejounte the keys to go back to being who Dejounte was when he played for San Antonio. Moving on to the next player, I got Zach LaVine, injury prone at this point. Theoretically, you probably should have him a little lower because of the performance of the Bulls. But he did average 19, 5, and 3. His three-point shooting percentage is a little low on the year. And then, of course, those ankles are just getting to the point where he's not worth the money. No one wants to trade for him. No one wants to give anything for the guy. I mean, Chicago's definitely in a tough situation for sure. It's similar to how DeMar DeRozan only got Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks. That's what you're pretty much going to get probably for Zach LaVine. Maybe you can squeeze a little bit more just because he has shown glimpses here and there of him being a super high caliber all-star player and he's a little younger than DeMar. But overall, 19, 5, and 3, solid outing. At number 6, I have his teammate, Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso, it's more about what he does on the defensive end than what he does on the offensive end. But offensively, he averaged 10, 3, and 3, pairing that with 1 steal. But honestly, his defense is top-notch. We all know it. I was shocked that they only got Josh Giddey in return. I was expecting a little bit more of a haul. But again, it's just teams being able to fleece the Bulls. That's all it comes down to. And he goes out there, literally just leaves his heart and soul on this basketball court. It is insane what he's able to do, and I'm excited for him to take another leap defensively for the Thunder, because he's not going to be expected to score there. He'll probably average another 10, 3, and 3 or something like that. Maybe be a bit more of a playmaker and be able to work on his off-the-ball game. But for him specifically, it's all going to be about defense over in Oklahoma City. So perfect pairing over there. He could be a lot higher. I also could see a world where he kind of falls a little bit just because there's a lot of names now over in Oklahoma City. You got Shea, you got Chet, you got J-Dub, you have Lou Dort. These guys you have Isaiah Hartenstein over there. They're kind of, he might fall a little bit on that totem pole, but I still think he's going to prove his value for sure. At number 5, I do have a guy who all-NBA caliber defender. He is a Swiss Army knife, just does everything he can. He can defend at an elite level. He can just do whatever a team needs him to do, and that's Derrick White. Derrick White averaging 15, 4, and 5, now playing for Team USA on the Olympic team. There's a reason he got chosen. He is a solid, just does it all. He plays a lot bigger than he is. He can shoot the 3-ball well. Ever since he shaved his head, he is just phenomenal. The bald mamba is there, and he is a legit shooting guard in this league. And the fact that the Celtics got him for pennies on the dollar says a lot about the GM over in Boston. That might be a little biased. Obviously, you can see the sign behind me. But overall, Derrick White, solid season. And, he deserves every penny that he got. So, moving on to number 4. This was what I was talking about at the beginning of this video, how Kyrie Irving is listed as a shooting guard. Kyrie Irving is my 4. He is somebody that he helped provide that offensive punch for the Dallas Mavericks alongside Luka, and he was somebody that's just willing to go out there and just do anything on the offensive side of the ball. Now, of course, they made the run to the finals and fell a bit short, but although he had some quiet games here and there, he did have some legit playoff contending caliber games that really helped when Luka was kind of struggling or when that knee was bothering him or something like that. Kyrie's always been a fantastic player. He's a great leader on and off the court. Yes, he's had some off-court drama and everything, but this season he's really turned things around. He averaged 25, 5, and 5, and it seemed like a different player from the last couple seasons. From the Brooklyn time and from the Boston time, he feels like a different player right now. With the off-the-court stuff, he's, kind of kept a lot of things to himself, been a little bit quiet, not really the whole, the whole quote-unquote head case thing is gone about him. It feels like he's finally focusing on the game itself and keeping his personal life, to himself, just so it doesn't cause locker room drama per se. Like, for instance, in Brooklyn, they categorized it as that and everything like that. At number 3 here, this has been a huge debate between these two players for 2 and 3. But at number 3, I do have Donovan Mitchell. Now, Donovan Mitchell, he is the kind of guy that, he put up 70 points in a game. I think 71 to be exact. But he carries the offensive load for the Cavaliers. Like I had kind of touched on with Dejounte Murray and Trae Young, Darius Garland and him kind of butt heads, so I guess that's kind of why I put two other players above him. But at the same time, defensively he stepped it up, offensively he stepped it up, 26, 5, and 6, and you can see and feel the difference between him in Utah versus him in Cleveland. He's taking the big shots. He's not shying away from anything. Now, of course, in Utah he did that, but it's just a different, feels different. He feels more of a veteran presence now and feels more threatening on the court than he did in Utah. He also, of course, there's a bit of a clogging issue in Cleveland with Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and like I said, Darius Garland, even Isaac Okoro. There's a bit of a spacing issue there. So Donovan Mitchell being able to do what he does, attack the basket effectively, shoot the 3 ball at a decent rate, and everything like that, while still maintaining, having that clogness, because Jared Allen's not giving you too much on the offensive end. Evan Mobley hasn't proved to be the expectation that he was set at draft night with the KG and Tim Duncan-esque. Not yet, at least. And then, Darius Garland, he just has quiet nights when Donovan Mitchell's there. So, overall, though, I don't know where to necessarily see where he can stop, as in, how high he's willing or able to go with his ceiling, you could say, with his potential and everything. Because, I thought with Utah, that was what we were getting, was the guy, score first player, gonna put 50 up, in the playoffs, gonna be, just going crazy and everything. And, of course, he did that for Cleveland, but it feels different, and that veteranship is coming through in Cleveland, and it's just, with his experience and everything. Now, can he jump one of these two guys? Of course, I do believe that. Speaking of number 2, we're going to go with Devin Booker here. Devin Booker averaging 27, 4, and 7. Definitely a unique season for him. Of course, the Suns being the 6th seed, but he had to adjust his game quite a lot because they have Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal now. He had to adjust the way he plays basketball. So you saw that assist number go way up for him, averaging 7 assists a game, and transitioning into a point guard-esque role. Now, they just signed Tyus Jones, of course, so I think he'll be going back to the shooting guard. But overall, we know him as a shooting guard. That's why I have him here. The 2 spot, I think he's a little bit better than Donovan Mitchell. Just if I'm having a fantasy draft, if I'm a GM with a number 2 overall pick in the draft of shooting guards only, I'm taking Devin Booker over Donovan Mitchell. No disrespect to Donovan Mitchell. It's just a praise to Devin Booker. I think that his playmaking is better. I think that one-on-one, he's top-notch. He's got that Kobe-esque offensive game to him. And then, it's just, you could say they're both not the greatest defenders and everything. It's just how Devin Booker transitioned his game. One, from playing with a playmaker like Chris Paul to then becoming the playmaker and playing alongside Kevin Durant. At the number 1 spot, I think we all know, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards carried the Wolves to the 3rd seed, averaged 26, 5, and 5. Somebody that attacks the basket at a crazy rate. He's proving on Team USA that he can be one of those top dogs too, that the keys are going onto his, for him specifically to take over. And similar to Donovan Mitchell, had they had an offensive jam from having guys like Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. You have something similar with Rudy Gobert in Minnesota. And Jaden McDaniels is not the greatest offensive player either. Cat has quiet nights as well. Mike Conley is not the Mike Conley we once knew. So Anthony Edwards really has to step up on a lot of nights and take over. So he wasn't afraid to back down from somebody like Kevin Durant. On the same side, the defense is so impressive because he's a great defender, like all NBA caliber-esque defender, where he's going to go and take the best player available and he's going to defend them. He's going to defend Kevin Durant. He's going to defend Luka. He's going to defend all those kind of guys. Kyrie, for example, whoever he needs to defend. Now, of course, they have that Swiss Army defender in Jaden McDaniels, but Anthony Edwards is right there guarding one of the top players on that roster. So offensively, he could do it all. Defensively, he could do a lot. So with that being said, guys, it's been another Heart Over Height episode. And if you guys did enjoy this content, do me a huge favor. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment down below on whether you agree, disagree with, whatever you do agree or disagree with. Make sure you label it. Give me a reason why. Some people might have Donovan Mitchell over Devin Booker. Let's have a full-on discussion. So it's been another Heart Over Height, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.